Roxo Media House.
Welcome back to FORTitude, folks. This is your end-of-year best-of show brought to you by our friendly folks at Captex Bank. First category, we asked our guests after every show, what's the best day of your life, familial affairs aside, and we've come up with several categories in this regard. And
your jock buddies, all these guys are, they at least had sports memories of that best day, right, or they were athletes themselves.
So first category being sports, who are our three spokesmen?
We had Philippe with the restaurants, obviously, all the great restaurants around Fort Worth. We had Larry Cole, who's the Cowboys guy, and then we had the Panther City Lacrosse, those three guys, which was a great episode.
Let's see those right now.
Yeah, let's take a look.
The favorite day
we've distracted
of Philippe Armenta was or is?
The day I got to meet Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay. Turn that music down. Let's hear that story.
All right, so we're
gambling, no less.
No, so this is a crazy story. So remember, I kept saying I was praying for a cold day when press was opening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, my buddy calls me. It's like, hey, dude, I got tickets to go see Seattle and Carolina divisional playoff. I'm like, let's go. So where my cars get built, my fast cars, because I have like super fast cars, like 2,000 horsepower.
Yeah. Where do you get, like, what kind?
Lamborghinis.
Oh, yeah.
So they're custom built. So literally, they rip out everything. And they put all new forge internals.
Where are they? Or where?
In North Carolina.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, let's go. I was going to go look at one of my cars there. Let's go to the game. Let's do it. It was snowing that weekend or cold flurries. I'm like, yes, press is going to be slow. Let's get out of here. So we go up there. My buddies who are in the car dealer or the car shop there, they pick us up. We hang out. They take us to dinner. And that first night we were at dinner and we're looking over and he's like, hey, Philippe, you see who's right in front of you over there? I was like, who? It's Michael Jordan. I was like, whoa. I was so impressed. I was like, man, because as a kid, he was my idol.
Yep. Yeah.
Till this day, he's my idol.
Yeah.
In the sense of hardworking, good leader, just ferocious.
Yeah.
He wants to win. So
yeah.
Those are all the qualities that I believe a good leader should have. And he's there. And, my buddy that's with me, my best friend, John, he was gone. I mean, he had been drinking all day. So he's like, Philippe, I'm going to go give him my business card with Cork and Pig on it. Tell him if he ever needs anything in Carolina, let me know.
Let me go ahead and put my cell on there for you, right, Michael, as well.
So he goes up there and I'm like, no, don't do it. Because I was worried that he was going to fumble or something. And, Michael Jordan turned out to be great. Took his card, said hi to us and got to meet him. And it was just kind of one of those.
Was it like this?
Yeah, he's 6'6". He's tall.
Yeah.
But, I just couldn't believe it was him.
Yeah.
As a kid, I grew up and, he was my favorite ever.
No family stuff, just what the best day was.
Well, it'll have to be winning that Super Bowl after all those years. It was a relief.
Yeah.
That we won it rather than, instant, deal. And then when we won the second one, it was like, it's like, I know this.
We always have our guest, the last question, aside from which you don't have any of these problems, children or marriage, you don't have any of those to worry about. What is the best day of your whole life? Start with you, if you don't mind.
The best day of my whole life?
Yes.
I guess I'd have to give the basic answer and say when I got drafted. And then,
that's right on,
I'm playing lacrosse my whole life, and then finally you made it to the highest level.
It's actually a great answer. It's really hard for people to answer that question.
Yeah.
So. No, it's great.
And you guys can't use the same answer. No airport baggage, putting profound objects in bags either, Phil. That can't be a best day of your life either.
No, I still got to stick to it. But yeah, the day I got drafted, but not only because of me like working this exponential goal, but I got to spend it with my family and just see the reaction on my mom and dad's faces. Priceless.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It was nice to be able to turn around and give him a hug. Right.
So, are you guys sitting in? Is it like a draft, like an NFL draft?
So my year, we were actually supposed to do it in the Key Bank Center in Buffalo, but with COVID and everything, they couldn't really make it happen. So, we put up a projector in the backyard. I had a bunch of family and friends over.
That's cool.
Did like a barbecue and like.
Did you know? Like, were you pretty aware that you were going to get drafted, and it was just with whom? Or
I knew I was going to go, just about which pick. I didn't know. So, but as it got closer, you get a call or saying.
Yeah,
I had an idea, but I didn't say.
When it was this team, was it like that's great, or it's like, oh man, it's like a beginning team.
I couldn't wait. The coaching staff we had going into it, and like I've been with Steve Toll before. He's always coached against me. He's always beat me. Haven't found a way to beat him. I played with him once. We ended up winning the championship. So I had to join him. So I was like,
that's awesome.
But yeah, no, I was so happy, and I knew I really wanted to live in Market too, and I was like,
oh yeah, is that the way it was kind of for you, Will? Too?
Yeah, no, Texas was like, obviously it's an expansion team too, so I knew it was a big opportunity for me. So I was really happy.
Yeah. Phil?
All right, Uncle Phil.
I don't know. I'll echo most of that, like getting drafted and stuff. But I think just playing my first game and scoring in it, and like really working for that opportunity your whole life, just to have it come true is really a great day.
Category number 2, the guys who love Fort Worth and what they do here in this special town of ours. Category for those guys includes
Rob Simple. We loved him. West Side Little League. He even asked us to go out there and do a little broadcast.
David Cook, one of your faves, the city manager.
Yep. Matt Holman from Dickies. And then
our buddy Mike McAuliffe, we always love him.
You bet. And then Jonathan Morris talking about what it was like here to open up his business.
Let's see those, Brenton.
Let's take a look.
The best day of doing this ballpark. It doesn't have to be Commissioners. It could be anything. Like the best day at that ballpark probably was so far.
My wife asks me this a lot when I'm coming home late from volunteering up there. My favorite days are typically a Saturday or a Sunday. I mentioned I live a block away from the park when I'm coming home from something and probably on my way to the park, and I see the parking lot is so full that they're literally parked almost all the way up to my house, just along Rockwood Park Drive.
Yeah.
And you go in there and it's like a pretty day, and the stands are packed. You have that like really good smell of, we have really good burgers there. Like we have that smell of burgers like coming out of the concession stand. And like there's a good, typically Colt, which is the 7 to 8 year old group. There's a good Colt game going on where the parents are just cheering, not fighting, cheering, and just the happiness you feel there. Like that's why we do it.
Yeah,
because it's a really cool experience for all the kids and the families, and there's just not a lot of that these days. And so those are my happiest. That's why I do it.
Yeah,
the best. I like that question, and I've answered at the birth of my kids. That always comes up. How about that? At birth of kids comes up.
Well, if you can't do kids, no familiar matters.
You're not the only one. We had the guy last time. We said no family, and they all go to the family. Victor Vandegrift, he stood died on his sword for the family. Yeah. So it could be anything like just for you. This one's just for you. You don't,
I'm trying to think.
Everybody knows that, like, that's a given, right?
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool when I found out I got the job here in Fort Worth.
So
I was at Del Fresco's
in Fort Worth.
Yeah, is that
when you found out?
Yeah, and and that's when I introduced myself to Deep Elm IPA. So
who were you in there? Can you say who you were in there with?
I was on my own. I was on my own.
And they just called.
The recruiter came in and told me, and so I was sitting at the bar, and began my relationship with Deep Elm IPA.
Aside, no wedding, no kids. What's the best day of your whole life?
I think easily said right now is the day I took the job here to come to Dickies Arena. I think
they don't even listen. Mr. Bass doesn't listen. You don't have to say that.
I think it was. It's the perfect setup in the perfect scenario in the perfect town, and the opportunity was there. And I saw it. Mr. Bass did see it, and I was excited about it.
You seem like you really Springsteen here, so you can answer next time.
Yes,
you seem like you really love
answer
what
that.
No, yes, he'll come.
You seem like you really love what you do, so that in itself is awesome. Great job, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
I think it's some of the success that we've had at the rodeo, because for me, that's brought me so close to people in Fort Worth. And you get through the end of the rodeo and that last day of the rodeo, and it's just kind of a relief, because at the beginning of the rodeo, you're so nervous because you want to make sure you do a good job.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do a good job, you're going to hear about it. One, from people that are upset, but then you've got so many friends that are there too. They're going to give you a hard time, and you don't want to give them any ammunition. But you get to that last day of the rodeo, and you see all your friends, and that's the sale of Champions Day, and you see animal sell for $150 or $200 or $300,000, and you see how it changes the lives of those kids. Even this last year, the kid that won the grand champion on Friday, I got a call and say, hey, the kid that won the grand championship, they want to get a reservation for 50 people.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't help you. But you know what I did help him do? I got him a table of 50 at Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
But I think that goes back and shows how tight of a community that we are.
Yeah,
that I've got, a friend that I've met through the stock show, that's, from far West Texas,
Sure.
And he's connecting me with his family and we're taking care of him.
So
I remember the day that I went to City Hall and presented to City Hall and won a unanimous vote for them essentially to allow us to have a zoning change to make the hotel happen. And the reason why that day stands out to me at least is because it was like this overwhelming sense of, yes, you have this idea, yes, you have a dream, but like you don't have to do it alone. You have the support of family, friends, community around you. And that's one of those moments that I will never forget, walking out of City Hall and just dozens of people that were just so supportive of this, little idea of mine. But I hope ultimately can inspire other people to whatever their dream is, whatever their idea is, that like building community around that a lot of times can push things into realities.
Yeah.
The third group, the ladies of the house. This is the simple one because it only belongs to one group of ladies, but Kirby and Lizzie from Curb Appeal.
I don't understand. Do we have a problem? Like, we only had like one set of ladies, like in-house, like people who we knew. We need to get more. I mean, clearly this season, we had more females on the first season than this for sure. So
we'll work on
lesson
that.
to be learned. Let's take a look at what happened with those guys. Yeah.
What's the best day of your whole life?
You can
that's
say
cool. I'll go if you want to think. I actually was featured in an article in the Wall Street Journal.
That was so cool. For City Boots?
For City Boots. And it was like almost the whole page. It was in the front section. It was really cool.
Did they do one of those like drawings of you, like a sketch drawing?
No, they sent over a very fancy photographer.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Do you want your picture taken?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys can arrange that.
As a cowboy?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're
going to have to do this now.
That's great. Hey, listen, Liz.
But it was really cool.
Time.
Yeah, like once in a lifetime opportunity.
For sure. You have it framed somewhere?
Oh, yeah. I've got, stacks.
Mm-hmm. Could you sign one and maybe bring it to us? And we'll
I'd
put
love
it up on the wall somewhere or
to.
something?
That'd be great.
Okay, Curb, what about you?
Well, I can't really top that.
Christmas card story or a party story?
I was going to say probably when I was born, that was the best day of my parents' life and everybody else's. Yeah. Here I am.
Sans
world.
misspelling
You're
the
welcome.
name.
Yeah, sans spelling my name wrong. Best day. That's every day's a great day. Every year's the best year.
We're going to need a better answer than that. If you can.
I was in Cowgirl 30 Under 30 for Cowgirl Magazine. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Literally barely made it. I was 30. So thank God. Didn't turn 31 yet.
Couple months ago, right?
Just a few. Just a few. Yeah.
The next category of best day in your whole life series is the Darwin Award winners of Fortitude. These guys, obviously, we tell our guests, what's the best day of your whole life, Brenton? You can't use your family.
We say that seconds before giving them the floor to give their answer.
Apparently, people don't listen to us necessarily, and here are your favorites in this category.
I'd like to tell you about my family. That's my favorite day. Watch this. Check out these guys.
We always ask our guests the last question, all familial affairs aside, no wife, no kids, none of that.
No matter where they get their name.
Do you mind if I ask the question? Yes. No family matters at all, but what's the best day of your whole life?
Oh, gosh. I guess I'd have to say when I have two kids, the days they were
So you
born.
can't do the kids thing.
Oh, okay.
No
That's
kids,
the it's the easy one.
That's why we do it. Best day of my life. Wow. Memory. It has to be memories with family, activities. It just has to be.
We can't accept that though, Rob. It's got to be something outside of family.
Wow, that was. I mean, I couldn't not say when I found out that my wife was pregnant.
I mean, what would you consider the best day of your whole life?
The best day. I like that question, and I've answered the birth of my kids. That always comes up.
Best day of your life, family side.
Oh, when my son was born.
That's family.
Oh. The last group and best day of your whole life candidates includes the picks that we feel are the best answers of the whole season. So the tops for these guys, they include Britt and I's personal favorites. Mine, the first guy in the category, Chris Cassidy's.
Yep.
The astronaut.
Jonathan Morris.
He talks about opening his business, right?
Yep.
Emmett Smith.
Yeah.
The pianist, the organ player.
Yeah,
not the pianist.
football. Yeah.
Yes.
Dat Win, I loved meeting him. Thank you for that introduction. He's a great guy.
Marshall Harris, the legendary TCU Horn Frog and artist.
Yep, and talking about being in France and today being better than yesterday. And then my favorite, J-Mac, because
surfing, right?
Well, that and the energy. And I remember you were like, we got to get this guy on, and I was like, I don't think so. And it was such a surprise, and the dude was just so positive. It was unbelievable.
And the last guy in the category who we also love, one of your friends, Ramon Romero, who's helping us out with the city and the problems some of us face with immigrants and things like that.
Yeah.
Lovely guy, and his answer was spot on.
Yeah. So let's take a look at those, and then we'll come back and
there you have it.
I will never forget walking out of City Hall and just dozens of people that were just so supportive of this, little idea of mine. But I hope ultimately can inspire other people to whatever their dream is, whatever their idea is, that like building community around that a lot of times can push things into reality. So.
Yeah. Best day of my life is the next day I wake up.
That's pretty great. Good.
Yeah.
Do you have family, Dad? We didn't ask.
So my wife and I, for 21 years. So we met at A&M as freshmen, and 5 kids. I got one at Clemson, and one is a junior in high school. I got a 10-year-old, and God got a sense of humor. Gave me twin boys that are 6 years old.
Oh man!
My youngest daughter, who's 18 now, like when she was, I think like 11 or something, she was Naga world champion at jiu-jitsu, and we trained together a lot. And then one day in our house, we were playing around, and I was like, she's starting to get kind of like really good. And like, I'm not holding back that much. And she puts this rear naked choke on me. And I'm like, dude, she wasn't letting go. And I was like, this is like, she's freaking trained now. Like, and I was just like, this is so cool.
On a personal note, getting into med school was a big deal, because I wasn't, it's really hard to get into med school, and I didn't think I was going to get in. I got in, so that was a big deal personally, that it was, because then at that point I felt like my adult life was, the path was now concrete. Like, okay, now I know I'm here and I just have to work hard and I can get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And it really did work out.
Probably playing the recital in 1987 at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Because I had the cathedral all to myself from 7 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock the next morning.
Possibly.
No family. We spent a lot of time talking about family.
I thought I was clear when I said that.
Well, we've been clear, and everybody keeps going back to family. They keep just running us over on that.
I bet he could get it.
The best day in my whole life. That is very difficult, but I can think of one thing that impacted me greatly. I was actually in church praying that I would take this burden from me, which I thought I was going to run. And I know that some people don't like talking about God, but I literally felt like God said, this was your responsibility. And I opened my eyes and I was crying, and I didn't even realize I was crying. And it was just so impactful that I knew right then that I could not make a mistake, that no matter what happened, I was going to beat Lon Burnham. And I ended up winning by 111 votes. For those people that believe in numerology, look it up. It's an angelic number. And I know that I was touched. And I know that that's a responsibility that I had. So is it great to know you have responsibility? I don't want to sit there and make people think like I'm some awesome guy. I make lots of mistakes. I'm a sinner like everybody else. And the fact that I felt like I was touched that way allows me to just live this life in a way that I live with no regrets. So my life changed that day. So really, that for me was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's an outstanding answer.
That
when you beat Lon Burnham, when he called, what did he say? Or
He
when
never called me. He filed
called?
an election challenge. Come on.
Oh no! What is the best day of your whole life, if you could pick one?
Today.
Today.
Oh man,
I don't know if I believe you, but is there another one besides today?
No, because if you look at a day that could be the shittiest day of your life, you're learning something on that day.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And so to take and pick out, the birth of my children, super day, the waking up in the morning and just realizing you've got another day of breath and something to do with it should be the best day. And that was probably the takeaway lesson of 9/11 is I was supposed to have breakfast on the top of a tower that got run into by a plane that morning. And if something hadn't happened and I had not been there, it was a really crappy day, but it took and changed the trajectory of my life. And so the best day of your life is the current day that you're living. You should make it that way.
So, yes, while the best day of my life would absolutely include my entire family, man, some of the best times of my life were when I was in Costa Rica. We talked about surfing a little bit when our sound was out, but I was in Costa Rica for a month and a half. I'd wake up in the morning, I would surf first thing in the morning, watch the sunrise, get some sun, do something physical, exciting, and like zen and relaxing all at the same time. I would go and exercise my brain by relearning Spanish, because I knew that I wanted to be able to communicate with my patients in their primary language. And especially here in Texas, so many patients can only speak Spanish. And so I'd go for 4 hours. And my buddy, who was also a doctor and wanted the same thing, to be able to communicate with his patient, we would talk only in Spanish to these like medical Spanish teachers there, leave there, go back to surfing, have a sunset session. And then after that, write music and record music for the rest of the day.
All aside your family and your wife and marital affairs, what is the best day of your whole life?
You said that aside?
Yeah, you can't.
No family. No family, because that,
Because everybody says wife.
Now,
and
some
kids.
people like Miss Vandergrift's husband still did the family thing. He was just we had Victor on here, and he just went right for it.
We couldn't allow it though.
You killed it.
No, just kidding.
No family.
Yeah. I would probably say the moment I opened the hatch on my first spacewalk. Yeah, that was just it brought everything together, all the hard work, all the everything. It was right there at that moment.
In conclusion, FORTituders, I'd like to thank a couple people, CapTex Bank, Mike Thomas. We know you're out there. We know you're watching. We know you're answering phone calls middle of the night. But, Brent, I want to thank you, man. It's been a fun ride. This is the completion of a second season. Season 3 is already in process of being filmed. So thank you for the idea of starting this a long time ago, but it's been a fun ride, man.
Yeah, and thank you. I know that the first season got a little rocky. You take on things like I've never seen before, and I really learned this season to just man, I cannot control this beast and let him go with what he wants to do. And I appreciate you having me along for the ride,
Thank
too.
you.
It's been a great season. And
There's a lot of love between us, my man.
Yeah, there really
Thank you
is.
to our guests. We've had some incredible people. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to these folks' stories. I'm inspired every day I sit in this chair with you and hear somebody's story. But next season 3 is upon us.
Yeah, and we're going to hopefully get out of this studio a little bit and go look at some crazy stuff. And thanks for everybody for tuning in, too.
That's right. Thank you, guys. We
Happy
love
New
you.
Year.
Roxo Media House.